Hey everybody, welcome back to Blacklist Universe. I am your host, 32-year comic book industry veteran Mike S. Miller. Welcome to the channel where I do redesigns and illustrations for your viewing entertainment. Today I'm doing Vess from that Star Wars video game whose name I cannot recall right now, but it's not important. All that matters is they took a character and you know what, I kind of get what they were doing. They gave her a denim jacket because they probably looked up, hey, what was popular in the 70s when Star Wars came out? Oh, yeah, denim jackets were popular. So let's try to do some sort of a flashback to the 70s because, you know, Star Wars was from the 70s. So, yeah, let's put her in some 70s denim jacket. What the heck are they even thinking? And then the most egregious thing about this character design to me is they took a beautiful young Latina woman and they redesigned her to be some sort of a weird large-chinned Chad white transsexual looking character. I don't understand why you would take an asset and diminish it to just be, actually I do understand. Anyways, what I did do here is I took the beautiful young Latina woman actress that did the voiceover for this character, and I gave her the starring role. I made her the character, and I went for sort of a Star Wars, I don't want to say, you know, I did kind of go a little bounty hunter here, a little rogue, a little bit, you know, just more what I feel like Star Wars, the original Star Wars, the Star Wars I grew up with, not the prequels, not even the prequels. I know everybody hates the sequels, I get it, but I hated the prequels too. So Star Wars, and then some of the books and some of the TV shows were good back in the day, you know, like, but man, no. Star Wars has just been bad for so long. It was really hard for me to even do this because I have such a distaste for Star Wars now in my mouth that I don't even want to watch the original movies, which I love and have seen, I don't know how many countless dozens of times. I actually have the originals on my computer before the bastardization of all the CG that George Lucas decided to destroy the original films with. I have those on my computer, and I can't even bring myself to watch those now, with what they have done to my beloved childhood. But that being the case, I know this is a character who's had a little bit of grief in the media space, and I thought, you know what? Let's give her a redesign and give her a little fixing. I wanted to give her that sort of roguish Star Wars feel, you know, the desert dweller. I know that, you know, everybody always focuses on the Tatooine stuff, and it seems like, you know what, there are many, many planets with many, many cultures in the Star Wars universe. You don't have to make them all from Tatooine. But it is a feel you get because when you're on Tatooine and similar planets, you get this space western feel. And I know it's supposed to be like space opera, space samurai, you know, all the influences that George Lucas and his more talented hires helped to craft this universe with. Yeah, I've got an issue with George Lucas. This whole video could go sideways if you're a Star Wars fan, and I'll apologize in advance. I think George Lucas is a bit of a hack. I just lost 12 subscribers, but hear me out. So George Lucas wrote the original Star Wars, right? The movie, wrote and directed it, and then he showed it to his little gaggle of friends like Brian De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola, Steven Spielberg. He gave them like a screening, and they all hated it. They all they said it was terrible. So his wife and another editor went in and chopped George Lucas's movie up and rebuilt it, and then added scenes, added drama, removed all the freaking teenager high school musical garbage out of the beginning, reshaped the whole movie, and made it into the classic that we all know and love today. So anyways, sorry, I got interrupted. So anyways, his wife comes in and re-edits this whole thing into the movie we all know and love. And that is how the Star Wars franchise began. And then subsequently, he hired different writers and directors honestly, to make the best movie, which was Empire Strikes Back. That was Lawrence Kasdan writing it. And then I believe even a different director. That was the best movie. And then Return of the Jedi. The next thing George Lucas wrote was the holiday special. Do any of you remember how bad the holiday special was? Come on. Can I get an amen here? George Lucas, okay, here's his thing. He's a great team builder, and he's a great idea guy. He's a great story, big picture story guy. But when you get to the directing and the writing and all the little intricate parts that make story great, George Lucas wrote Howard the Duck. He wrote Captain EO. He is not good at this. And then he went and he made the prequels, and on any rational measure, he not only wrote terrible dialogue, he directed 3 of my favorite actors into the worst performances of their careers. This is going to cost me subs. I know it, but that's fine. If you don't want to sub to me because you hate my take on this, but you can't argue it. You cannot argue it. George Lucas, he has very unique talents, and he's great at those talents, but writing and directing, man, when he went to Lawrence Kasdan and asked him to write the prequels, I just wish Lawrence Kasdan had said yes instead of, no, you should do it yourself, because he should not have done it himself. And I know some of you younger guys, you grew up with the prequels and they were your, you have this nostalgia for them. But I'm sorry, this is a Star Wars rant instead of a drawing video, but this is what I don't do a lot of Star Wars. And this is, it was my childhood. It was my childhood. Star Wars was like the biggest sci-fi thing in my childhood. I was a nerd, comic guy, all that stuff. And so when I even liked the first prequel when it came out, just because it had been so long since there was any Star Wars coming out, that I enjoyed it. And then I sat back, and you do that thing where you go and you watch it again, and you're like, what the hell was that? It was like, that's just a plain old saltine. No, you have to be my age to understand that joke. But it's just funny to me because, Star Wars was so good and so important. And I get it for those of you who are younger and have the nostalgia for the prequels. That's your nostalgia talking. Trust me, I'm perfectly aware of how certain movies are nostalgic, but I have to look back at them and say, you know what? I love this movie, but I love it despite itself, because the nostalgia is what I love. The place and time in my life is what I love. Honestly, I should have put a warning at the beginning of this video. If you love George Lucas, then you're probably not going to want to watch this video. But again, look, man, he has his talents. He is uniquely qualified to put together teams of great talent. He's got great vision. He's got great broad stroke storytelling. This is the guy that gave us the Indiana Jones story. The story of Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, is by George Lucas. And for that, I will be eternally grateful to the man. But I just think, I think people should stick to what they're best at, especially when you're dealing with such beloved characters. And here's the thing going on with Star Wars now. Nobody's doing anything of any value. In fact, they're taking opportunities to make cool, interesting, fun, beautiful characters, and just they give you this troglodyte-looking K-Vess character, K-Vess, whatever her freaking name is, instead of even just using the beautiful young actress as the model that you hired to do the voice. You're so concerned with DEI hires and all of this stuff, but you hire a Latina woman and then you give her visual role to an ugly white chick. What? Why? How? It's not just a war on white. Obviously, in this case, it's not a war on white women because you replaced a Latina woman with a white woman. It's a war on beauty. You replaced beauty with uggo. With her face looks like she fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. And then you dress her up like she's went to some 70s thrift store to get her outfit. How about using some of the classic Star Wars stylings, like the belt, right? You use the belt. This is sort of a Han Solo inspired belt. You give her sort of a Han Solo Boba Fett feel to her, so that it looks like she fits in the universe. Not that she's some fangirl who went to watch Star Wars in 1977 and this is what she was wearing when she was in the theater. This is just so dumb. So use the elements. I mean, Ralph McQuarrie gave us some freaking awesome stuff to work off of. I kind of try to be inspired by that. You know, a little roguish look to her, kind of mussed up her hair. Here's what I think. I kind of combined, like, you know, the Princess Leia with all the nice braids and all of that stuff with sort of the rascally messed up hair that Han Solo does. So it's like, you know what this character to me I thought could be, if you wanted to do something in lore and interesting and fun, have her be like the bastard child of Boba Fett, or maybe of a clone trooper or something along those lines, right? I thought Boba Fett, so I actually used some Boba Fett stylings and colors on her final design. And then, you know, a little Han Solo inspired on the leggings and boots and whatnot. So I used Star Wars to inspire Star Wars. Is it that hard? Is it really that difficult to get the concept that when you're designing something for not just the universe, but for the audience who loves the universe and the characters in that universe, but you have to design a new character, you still want to live in that universe, whatever the universe, whether it's Marvel, whether it's DC, whether it's Star Wars or Blade Runner, whatever it is, you need to feel like you're in that part of the universe when you're designing these characters. That Vess character from the video game, she's like a freaking square peg in a round hole. I mean, she doesn't even look like she's from any planet in the Star Wars galaxy, right? There's a ton of planets and they all have their own specific unique styles. Apparently she's from the dumpster planet where everyone threw away everything that didn't work about Star Wars, and they went dumpster diving for her outfit there. Here again, I'm showing you, I did borrow very much a color scheme from Boba Fett overall. Yeah, maybe I did add a little bit more sex appeal than George Lucas would have approved of in the in his teams, but you know what? Maybe not, because remember Natalie Portman, she had her midriff ripped open, and you know, you see this stuff in the Star Wars movies, but maybe, you know, this character, abandoned by her Boba Fett father, she has daddy issues, so she does flaunt her sex appeal a little bit to try to get her way in the Star Wars universe. It's like, yeah, I get it, it's for kids and whatnot, you know, it's space wizards and cowboys for kids, I get that, but still, you know, you don't have to go Jessica Rabbit, but at the same time, you can portray a little bit of sex appeal. I mean, they did it in The Mandalorian a little bit with Gina Carano's character. I don't see why we couldn't do it here. And in fact, this kind of gives me a little bit of that character's flair. It's sort of a cross between her, Boba Fett, Han Solo, Princess Leia. So you just kind of mash them all together and you get a character that actually feels like they belong in the Star Wars universe. And it's based on the actress who is a beautiful young Latino woman. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Do you hate me now because I'm not a huge fan of George Lucas? Or can you stick with the channel? Maybe even drop a subscribe in there and let me know what you want in a future video. I'm Mike. This is my channel. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and hopefully I will see you on the next video.